Hey, welcome to a shift in perspective, a show where we just try to gain like a little bit of insight from art. My name's BK, and thank you for tuning in. I really appreciate it. Today, we're going to be talking about one of my favorite albums, definitely in my top 10 of all, and it's this one right here, Faces by Mac Miller. You know, I'm real upset at myself, y'all. I did a dum dum. My stupid ass left this vinyl by the radiator, and now it's all warped. I am severely pissed off. But I'm super happy and excited though that this album got re-released this past October 15th, and droves of new people get to listen to it, and I got to see the fans that I didn't know were there. Like, of course, Mac left a great legacy and discography behind, but this one to me always felt, I guess, a little personal. I don't want to say underappreciated, but whenever I would talk to like what I consider other hip-hop heads or just fans of this one would never be brought up in conversation. This one would never be heard of. But I was so happy to see in those videos and all those comments of just people talking about how they listen to it yearly the same way I do. It was dope. It was real good. But I've been trying to make this video for like over the past year, constantly tweaking it and making it different, because this is my first video following my dream, and I was nervous, scared, but I'm happy to finally be here. I turned 30 in a couple days. Hopefully, if my timing is right and I do what I'm supposed to do, I released this on my 30th birthday. I'm not one for the pomp and circumstance of time, you know, it being made up and all that shit. But I don't know, some kind of symbolism hidden in there. I just wanted to give myself a goal and like fucking follow it, man. But I'm really excited. I want to talk about this album. I want to have conversations with other fans and people who watch this video, and let's hop right into this damn thing. So I want to kind of start from, like, I guess my beginning with Mac Miller, my beginning with this, how I got to experience this album for the first time. I wasn't even a fan of Mac Miller at the time. Heard of him, you know, back in 2014. Do y'all remember 2014? Yeah, that was a year, dog. That was a damn year. And one of my highlights was this album, quite a few others, but this one made me a fan. And I love music, so whenever I can get to enjoy something I never heard before, whenever I can gain a little bit of perspective, and I can see that an artist not only tried to make the best art that they knew how to make, but tried to portray their life the best that they could at that moment. And I can't think of another album that comes to mind that does it better than this one. If you got one though, let me know, because again, I just want to hear some good music. One of the things that I've been happy to see when it comes to these new videos and like this album coming into the consciousness of hip hop again is everyone's perspective on how the album lays out and the specific story Mac is trying to tell. And I think it's fucking dope, because they're all different. They're all like little tweaks and like renovations of one another, but you can tell that everyone's listening to the album and taking what they need from it. And I want to give my perspective on it, because I haven't heard anyone break it down quite this way. So yeah, I break it down a little bit differently than what I've seen. So there's 24 tracks on this bad boy, and not just like throwaway tracks, because I know like nowadays you hear 24 tracks on the album, you like, damn, like why they put that many on there? This one ain't that, my boy. So this one, every track is filled with top-notch production. There's not a single miss on the production front at all. And dare I say, there's not even a single miss on the lyrical rhymes, the features, the fucking features, dude. Everyone slaps from Earl Sweatshirt. Schoolboy Q on one of these tracks just does fucking ad-libs and repetitive chorus, and that shit still slaps. Like, yeah, let me stay focused. Stop gushing. I see this album more as two albums. That was 4 of you, dumbass. So I'm gonna break this album up into 2 videos. The first video is gonna go from Inside Out to Funeral, and then the second video obviously gonna go from Diablo to Grand Finale. I'm looking forward to getting this breakdown here with you and giving you guys my perspective on it. I'm gonna give you a brief summary here on this whiteboard, but we'll break it down each step of the way. So with the 2 halves of this album, the first 12, I kind of feel like you could really call that one like life, or I guess his actual life in that moment, and him taking you through his day-to-day. And the second half, the other 12, those I guess I see as more the conceptual, more of him trying to flex the artistry in his craft. And I've been racking my brain as I've been writing the script and renovating it over and over again, which half I prefer. It's fucking hard, but pause. So the first half, that one plays out pretty simply. We got 2 intro tracks that just set the pace, and then from there it's just 10 tracks that just seamlessly flow together, where Mac's telling stories, getting you involved in his day-to-day, meeting his friends and going through his insecurities, his fears, his own accomplishments, him trying to encourage himself. It's beautiful. It really gives you that perspective, and that's really what I wanted to show, that you can get a lot of perspective from music, all kind of art, truthfully. And I was talking to my brother about this the other day. I think that's truly like the main purpose of us like being here. You know, we live our whole life behind our eyes and the world that we see, and you really only see the beauty when you can get yourself outside of that world, outside of that perspective, and see something a bit different, see something you haven't seen before, see it in a new light, or with just a new way of thinking. And I think this album portrays that so well. But let's break down this first half. I really like the way that this album starts off, right? We got Inside Out and we got Here We Go. This is a perfect sample of this album. These 2 songs. Eerie production, amazing horn samples throughout, bars, punchlines, back to back, and this erratic, ad-libs from Mac, you know. As far as the subject matter goes, him talking about in Inside Out his own shortcomings when it comes to his drug abuse, and then you get on Here We Go, he on his I'm that nigga shit. I'm the best in the game and everybody know it. I love they did it all without a Drake feature verse on there. And I love how the album just starts off with Inside Out. You know, he comes in with I should have died already, though, that ad lib.
Yeah, should have died already. Faces. I should have died already. Shit. Faces. Yeah.
This set the pace well for me. I know on my first listen I was so taken aback that who starts the album off with the first thing you hear is I should have died already. It was, at the time, 2014, I was like, wow, that's crazy. But then from there we go into Friends, Angel Dust, Malibu. Now these I kind of feel like it's like a trilogy of songs as well. These are talking about like his day-to-day stuff. Friends, he seamlessly blends the stories from friend to friend. It feels like by the end of it, you one of the homies too, and you know all the homies. And like I said earlier, that fucking Schoolboy Q feature, I remember when I first saw it pop up, I'm like, oh, it's about to be dope. I just got into Schoolboy Q. Oxymoron came out the same year, so I'm like, oh, fucking, I love Schoolboy. And just for him to be back doing the ad-libs and doing the simple chorus. Because what was important was the stories that Mac was crafting, and again, him bringing you into his friend group. Angel Dust is one of the biggest, contradictions on this album, because subject matter-wise, it's very bleak, dark, and it feels very self-destructive. Sonically, one of the best beats on the whole project. Again, the horns is throughout on almost every song, but the horns on this one especially peak.
Trip. Yeah. Okay. Writing on writer's block. Haven't slept in days. They wanna put me in the psycho watch. Everyone's afraid of what I do inside my studio. Worried I'm a
One of the things that I really enjoy about this album is that it's mostly produced by Mac. He produces almost all the tracks. Friends and Angel Dust are the first 2 that he produced on there, and you can definitely tell because he raps over his beats like the best of them, and it really feels personal. It feels like each beat was crafted for this story. I think these 2 songs in particular are just such a good juxtaposition, right? From every point of view of it, from subject matter wise to production, they're such a contrast. Friends is laid back, real groovy, almost eerie, and his flows are very melodic, kind of sing-songy. But then you get to Angel Dust right after that, and it's just in your face. The horns come in hard, and then his delivery over it is so energetic. But then you also get the subject matter. Friends feel so personal. Friends feel so him taking a reflection on his life and taking it as seriously as it is, on not only what his close circle is doing, how he's interacting with his close circle. But then on Angel Dust, it's a damn near a freaking upbeat drug ballad about doing angel dust and how he knows it's destructive for him, but god damn it, sometimes life is dope and you do dope shit. Yeah, love these two tracks. And then this little trilogy here ends with like Malibu is, again, we go back to that like laid back production, but again he's taking both of things that just happened very seriously. Him being disconnected from his friends, as well as him being consumed by his drug use. Now, I know these subject matters sound heavy, but when I tell you how he lays this over these beats and how his rhymes, one of my favorites, right? Just to give you a little example of what I'm talking about. When he spits this rhyme right here.
Woke up annihilated, lying on a pavement, covered in items I regurgitated under a fire escape. And I know that it's Friday, cause every Friday they have a parade in front of City Hall. Hear them celebrate, they having a ball. My pupils dilated, highly dehydrated. I'm lost inside a giant matrix, isolate myself from eyes I find contagious.
Dog, I could never rhyme something like that so well together. Like, what the fuck, dude? Right? Like, the complexity in that, right? How he breaks apart his own life and how it's harmful for him, and how even still he feels so isolated from it all. But when you hear it in the song, this is what it sounds like. You see, that don't sound depressing. That sounds dope as hell. And that was the beauty of this, because it kind of felt like, yeah, this is, for him at least, this was a low for me. It's how I perceive it. It's how I flip it in my own mind. And that's why he ends the song, of Angel Dust with, he wants to stop doing it.
While police watch, lost some vibrations, sirens blowing up the weed spot. The hot hopefuls all growing up to be cops, chasing after gangsters, but they never find a G spot. I'm recording like I'm dying.
To this day, my favorite use of G spot in a rap song, because of the triple layers of meaning that he puts into it. It's
like
amazing.
Trouble, cause I'm in it often. A drug habit like Philip Hoffman will probably put me in a coffin. But down the slope of my toboggan, 3-day delirium, getting weirder than Austin. Now it's 7 in the morning. This rapper life is so boring, still at it. A drug absorbing endorphin addict, yeah. The evil follow me, I got a devil magnet. I know a bitch will let you fuck her from the cello.
One of the themes of this first half is this constant ebb and flow. He's going to take you on a low. Going to take you on a high, like how he explains so many times in his lyrics on this one. That's what I love about What Do You Do, because not that Malibu's deep low, but it's so much more like laid back and very serious and on the subject matter. But What Do You Do is so whimsical. It feels like two homeboys just like sitting in the studio, just going back to back, bar for bar. And so many quotables. So many quotes. Some of my favorite.
I chew my horn, I blow my bugle, I recycle, I say free beluga whales on YouTube. What do you do?
Okay.
So that's goofy, right? Because it's like he's showboating. He's out chasing to be a good person, right? When people just like you see them do something, but you're like, you're only doing that because you want to be perceived as a good person. That shit. I free beluga whales on YouTube. Hilarious. And then Matt comes in. The pussy like trouble because I'm in it often. A drug habit like Philip Hoffman will probably put me in a coffin. Again, it sounds like he's just going tit for tat, but one, it was very creepy because it was reality. But again, the way that he delivers it feels so whimsical. One of my other favorites is because of the meaning. I had to write this one out. The evil follow me. I got a devil magnet, right? Because he said the evil, like D, then evil, and then devil is D, and then evil, because it said that the evil follow him, because Again, could fucking never get something that cool to come out of my brain. I saw you meditating, get your Gandhi on. If she got the stink puss, then I won't be long. There's so many. I could go on forever and ever. Life is like college. All you have is your noodle. I love you more than Kanye loved Kanye. Classic. To this day, I say that one. To this day.
To this day.
But then, back to the freaking, we had our high, now we're gonna go down again. It just doesn't matter. Ooh, I remember on my first couple of listens, I would skip this track because I'm like, this intro is too long. I'm tired of hearing it. And then, I don't know, maybe like the third year in, I was just like, this is one of my favorite songs on here because that Bill Murray intro is so good. I have just the intro saved on my phone, and I just play just that part sometimes just to get myself hyped up to realize a lot of the shit that I care about, it really just doesn't matter. And that's where we go with this one. The bars on this one is a lot more rapid but impactful. I really think that the important part was that Bill Murray skit. But then from there we go into Therapy and Polo Jeans. This is another one of those like juxtapositions on this album, especially on this half, because he's given us a look into two connected yet drastically distinct aspects of his fame and his art. You know, in Therapy, it's a very, again, you know, this is our upbeat song again from the low of It Doesn't Matter. Therapy is very him explaining how he understands his own shortcomings, but his therapy is the music. His therapy is going through his life and analyzing it and asking the audience,
Can you tell me how's it feel? How's it feel? Can you tell me how I feel to come and hang around a motherfucker like me? How I feel to come and hang around a motherfucker like me?
how does it feel to be around me? And it doesn't quite feel like he's asking that just to us. It feels like he's also asking that to himself, because that's the inner monologue that he has. Every song on here really shows how introspective Mac was, and how at all points he was looking inward to really understand the person that he was and how he can convey that through his music. And Therapy is such a good example of him doing that there. But then we go to Polo Jeans, one of my favorite, like, okay, maybe my favorite one on here. So like this year my favorite one switched. It was Polo Jeans, but for some reason San Francisco just been hitting different, dude. Like, but Polo Jeans, this one is like the opposite. Therapy was making the music, becoming successful, being able to do the things that he wants to do with his life without feeling constricted. Polo Jeans, him and Earl talk about how there's the negatives to all that, and those how they deal with the fame, and how sometimes it's not the healthiest and the most destructive, and on top of that how it's very intrusive, how people feel they need to be so a part of their lives. That compare and contrast to Therapy on there is so good. Also, side note, we also get new production on this one, Tier 2. This one is produced by Earl himself, where I felt this is the song that made me fall in love with Earl Sweatshirt. I wasn't a big fan of Odd Future up until this point. Not that I had anything against him, I just never really listened to him. But this song here made me want to go back, listen to all their shit. Became a fan too. So like I said, this album was pivotal for me in my enjoyment of music. One of my favorite things about this album as a whole too, this Mac really flexes that he's great at the first bar. The first thing you're hearing every song is going to be the earworm that hooks you for the rest of it.
I give no fucks when I go nuts, cause I smoked us, overdosed on the sofa dead. Woke up from a coma, pulled up in a soda, smoke, went back to bed. Never thought I'd be such a loner. I tell my bitch that I fucking own her. My neighbor's daughter just got a dog, I'ma run it over, I'ma fuck.
He's good with his production that way too. He always lets you feel a little bit of what he's about to bring in with his production before he gets you with good rhymes, good raps. And Polo Jeans is such a great example of that one there. On the chorus, right, Mac hit us with,
It's another motherfucking rap song. Broken, crazy, rich and famous doesn't last long. Spend all my cash on a broken dream. From weed and liquor to the coke and lean. All I got is mansion and this poker free.
if that's not the embodiment of, I guess, what fame is, I don't know what is. And he delivers it in such a masterful way with this chorus. The last bar that Earl Sweatshirt leaves us with, it's like it gets stuck in my brain all the time. It goes a little something like,
was the older initials, been rap game tighter than boa constrictors, rolling stone like a boulder raven. I'm so impatient and going dumb as this, closing my fucking home location to total strangers. No love in my heart for coppers, blood from my lungs on the sink, cashing out off the garments, the hardest fuck what you think. The sky turned black and the carriers could pick, and my flesh when I rest tell them bury me a.
Such an encompassment of fame for, especially for people who didn't get into it for that, who wasn't quite expecting that sense of not having privacy. It's crazy because sometimes we kind of forget that artists are people, just don't have they niggas like you and me. Now we're towards the outro, the end of this first half of the album, or the first album as you can call it, and it's beautiful, right? We get Happy Birthday to Wedding to Funeral. This trilogy fits so well together. Is that, like I said, this first half kind of feels like life. Mac at the beginning of it is talking about his day-to-day, his friends, the things that he's done, and then he talks about how he copes with what he's dealing with and what he's doing, and how he feels about the situations that he's being presented with now that his life is so different. And then we get a little peek into what this next half of the album is going to be, because again, the next half is real conceptual, and Happy Birthday, Wedding, and Funeral feels like a life trilogy. On Happy Birthday is such an upbeat song, party vibe. You know, my wife always says all the time that on our birthday, this is the song that we're playing, just because it's so good. Wedding, he gives us this hypothetical story of his own insecurities when it comes to relationships, and how he feels it's going to just play out. It's not going to change. It's a bit depressing because you want him to have hope that he can find love.
And I see you falling victim to the thirst. All the sins you committed, you could probably use a couple minutes in church, but for what it's worth, I think you're perfect. There's an angel hiding underneath the surface. Yeah, the woman of my dreams, I'm looking at her sleep. The pussy right in front of me, I shouldn't be so weak. What did I do to deserve a love like this? You see her shining, that's my sunlight, bitch.
And Funeral is it feels like a love letter to himself. It feels like the song that he wanted to make to tell himself that, above all, I did what I felt I needed to do to live the life that made me feel fulfilled. And he says, I hope this plays at my funeral. I think he's meaning the album, because again, he crafted it so well to give you a peek into his life, no matter how dark or beautiful it may be. Some of my favorite verses from these three: Happy Birthday got a real good one. This one right here. Those string of questions, right? Like everyone is it's just a simple question. Deep ones too. Deep ones to think about. But on your birthday though, dog, that's a lot. But that's what happens, right? On like I said, my 30th's coming up, and I can't help but to sit here and think about the last 29 years and the what ifs and the could have beens and shit. What is real? That's something that I constantly ask myself. And yeah, it's always around the birthday time. Always around the time, oh shit, I'm one step closer to being part of the dirt and the maggot food and stuff. The beginning part of verse 2 on Wedding is one of my favorites on the album. He hits us with,
see, we swallowed in this web of lies. Never try to exercise. It used to be a fantasy, but now I guess it's televised. I heard the legends never die. Oh, this lonely hell of mine. There never was a better time to better myself. Forever I melt and float away like waves in the ocean. Stare inside of heaven's eyes, the gates will never open. I'm smoking on this field of hope, wait until my deal gets closed. I keep getting hotter, but all I seem to feel is cold. 22 don't feel so old, but I think I'm 82. You mean to tell me God took 7 days and all he made was...
a tear to my eye, just because you can hear that he desperately wants to leave a legacy behind, and he fears that he's not a good enough man to do it, but he wants to tell himself that I should be a good enough man. There never was a better time to better myself. Like he knows. Man, this song is sad. It's beautiful. So yeah, that's the first half. I'm looking forward to talking about this next half with you. I don't know when I'm gonna post that one, but I'm happy that I got this done, because man, I'm fucking following my dream, dog. Like, so many people never get the opportunity to realize that they had that as an option. And I have to always remember how privileged I am to, one, live where I live in the country that I live in, and to be fortunate enough to have the train of thought that I have and the people in my life that I have to encourage me. And I'm happy to be taking this step forward. I'm happy to finally prove to myself that, dog, you can do it, man. You have it in us to at least try to make these things in your head a reality. And I really do want to say to you guys watching, thank you so much for clicking on this video. And if you leave a comment, I'll be sure to be in there with you, talking about this first half. You know, if you haven't listened to it before, like I said, it was recently re-released October 15th on all the streaming platforms. You also can still download the original one on DatPiff and SoundCloud and all that. I'll leave a link down in the description so you can go ahead and give it a listen. If you haven't heard it, please, listen to it, then come back, rewatch my video again, and be part of the conversation. If you have heard it, how many times a year do you listen to it? Or do you listen to it yearly? Or which one's your favorite songs or favorite beats, favorite sections? Let me know. But yeah, till next time, I probably should work on an outro. I'll have a better one on the next video. Do it. Or do you listen to it yearly? Or which one's your favorite songs or favorite beats, favorite sections? Let me know. But yeah, till next time, I probably should work on an outro. I'll have a better one on the next video. Do